All rise. The Kosovo Specialist Chambers is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning and welcome. Madam Court Officer, can you please call the case?
Good morning, Your Honors. This is case KSC BC 2020-04, the Specialist Prosecutor versus Peter Shala.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. I see that the SPO is in the same composition as yesterday.
Yes, indeed, Your Honor.
Okay, we note that goes also for Victims' Counsel. And on our left-hand side, Defense Counsel, if there is a change, you would suffice that
we
you
are
give
the
us a
same
change.
team, excepting with Ms. Kaylin Chen, who will join us for the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very well. Then we have Mr. Shala with us. Good morning, Mr. Shala. Can you confirm me that you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Good morning.
The video link is also okay. Good. Yes, we are going to discuss an item in private session first. However, I would like to make a little note that is for purposes of clarification. Yesterday, I used the word alterated at page 3392, page 9, and I meant to say irritated. And maybe my knowledge of the Spanish, of the Italian language was a reason for a kind of mix-up. But I want to have the record clear on that. Very well. Madam Court Officer, can you bring us into private session? Madam Court Officer, could you bring us into public session, please?
Your Honors, we are now in public session.
Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you have the floor. Yes. No, it's on.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Before we start the examination of this witness, I would like to seek the permission of Your Honors to add to the presentation Q1 video, which is the video of the SPO interview with the witness, part 2, and I'll give you the reference number in a moment. The reason for this late addition is that yesterday we discussed two issues. The building, the white building, that was a subject of a contention, and we had a debate between ourselves and the defense on it. And at some point, the issue of showing the video arose. So we would be very happy to show it to the witness and ask for his comments. The second contentious issue yesterday was also in relation to the trucks being present, apparently, at the Cookers Metal Factory. And we would like to also show one video and ask a witness to comment on it. Very important issue in our view, and we would like to start with these two matters. For this reason, I would seek Your Honor's decision now, if possible, before we start. There is no prejudice towards the defense in this regard because this item was already disclosed pursuant to Disclosure 181 on the 9th of November this year. So the defense is well aware of it and has it in its possession. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Defense, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. As we said before, we are here to try to find the truth. So that's a fair way, and we don't have something to add about this, no opposition.
Thank you. Victims' Counsel, anything to add in this respect?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The panel will allow for adding this to the presentation queue. So we grant it, and Mr. Prosecutor, you may start as soon as I've ushered the witness in with your further with your cross-examination.
Just for the record, Your Honors, I could provide the reference number of this video. It is 077857B, part 2, red.
That is noted. Thank you. Court Clerk, could you please usher the witness into the courtroom? Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Merci.
Thank you for having me back.
Hear me well. I hear, I see.
Posso ouvir?
Yes, very well.
Mr. Shala, can you hear the witness?
Good morning. Yes, I can hear him very well.
Mr. Witness, how are you today?
Mir.
I'm well.
Very well. Mr. Witness, I remind you that you are still under oath to tell the truth. You understand that?
Gewoon regel.
Yes, I do.
We'll continue with the cross-examination by the Specialist Prosecutor's Office, and I will give the floor now to Mr. Prosecutor. Please.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Hoja. How are you today?
Mir.
Good morning. I am well. How are you?
Mr. Hoja, yesterday we discussed the issue of the broken trucks resting at a certain location of the compound of the Cookers Metal Factory. At page 93, lines 5 to 8 of the provisional transcript of yesterday, you told us that there were 3 to 4 broken trucks placed somehow in the middle of the compound, covering the view of the white building we discussed yesterday. you specifically said the following. Where number 3 is, there were 3 or 4 trucks which were broken down and were parked there. Actually, I'm not sure if there were 3 or 4, but that part of the courtyard cannot be seen. One could not see what was there. This is what you said. You repeated the issue of these 3 or 4 trucks, and you said that you could not see that part of the yard, and this is at page 96, lines 3 to 8, or that this part was not visible. You said that at page 104, lines 24, 25 of the provisional transcript. And I would like to first clarify the number of trucks that were there, the broken down trucks. So yesterday you said there were 3, maybe 4 trucks, you were not sure. However, I would like to put to you what you said during your SPO interview. Let's go to the document, not the video, first. It should be on 077857 TRET Part 2, page 5, lines 19 to 22.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer.
Your Honors.
Defense Counsel.
Sorry, Your Honors, but since this is a very important issue, we would love to have the Albanian version of the transcript available for alleviation of any concern.
We have the Albanian references, so maybe you also have it. If not, I leave it to you.
Your Honor, I don't have it, but it should be the same page, around the same area,
Okay, very well.
in the Albanian transcript.
Please, Madam Court Officer, could you bring up also the Albanian version?
In the English version, it will be lines 19 to 22.
Line 21, we see ne camion. I'm not completely sure if that is the part.
We believe it's page 6, Your Honor, of the Albanian transcript, line 14.
Thank you. That was also the information I just received from my colleague. Yes, thank you.
Can I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, I was having a look at it. You may, if our interpretation unit has told us what the corresponding lines are, and it's from line 14 on, then we are set to go.
Yes. Mr. Hoxha, in that part, and I'm going to read it to you, you said the following thing. For example, on the near the warehouse, the metalwork warehouse, there was a truck on that side. There was a truck, broken down truck, and I slept in the truck. In the whole part 2 of your statement, and I reviewed that yesterday, you only spoke about one truck being at the premises of the Cookers factory. And this is indeed the truck where you slept. You also said that yesterday, about that one truck where you slept. if there were indeed, as you said yesterday, 3 or 4 broken trucks, that they were in the yard of the Kukas Metal Factory, why did you tell the prosecutor in 2020 only about 1 truck that was broken down there?
To my knowledge, I've also stated back then that there were 3 to 4 trucks. I said that I slept in one of them, but whether there were 3 or 4, I'm not sure.
Hoxha, you indeed mentioned several trucks coming and going, being parked at the premises of the Kukas Metal Factory, but when it comes to broken down trucks, in the SPO interview, in the whole interview, you mentioned only 1 such truck that was broken down. What would you say to that? Was there 1 truck, as you claimed before the prosecutor in 2020, or 3 to 4 trucks, as you claimed yesterday?
No, there were 3 or 4 trucks that were broken down.
Very well. I would like to clarify also the issue of the exact place where that broken down truck or trucks was or were located within the Kukas Metal Factory. In your testimony that you gave yesterday, you placed the truck or trucks somehow in the middle of the compound, covering the view of the white building that we discussed yesterday, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
For example, at page 107, lines 21 to 23 of the provisional transcript, you said, and I quote, "I know that I would bring my tables, desks outside and work just where those trucks were, exactly where number 3 is. That's where I would bring ply desk outside and work." But I would like to show you part of the video of the SPO interview, and that would be, Your Honors, 077857B, part 2, red. With your permission, Your Honor, I would use this video and ask Madam Court Officer to display it.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer.
My suggestion also would be to put on the right-hand side to the video the English transcript of it, and that would be 00857TR ET Part 2, page 5.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer.
It's page 5, and let's take a look at lines from 16 to 25. I would like Madam Court Officer to play the video from 10:28 and continue until 12:00.
If you can, using the panoramic photo, can you point out where under the stars, so to speak, that you slept on occasion, and also where the warehouse building is?
So can you tell us in this panoramic photograph where exactly you slept, or when you slept outside the building, for instance, or inside the building itself? And for example, here near the warehouse, the metal workhouse, there was a truck on that side.
The metalwork warehouse, there was a truck on that side. There was a truck, broken down truck, and I slept in the truck.
I'm just going to
use the camera here to show. Am I pointing in the right place, roughly, for you, Mr.
So is this the right place where I'm pointing to? Yes.
So, Mr. Hodja has just said, yes, this is roughly the area where the broken down truck was that I'm now showing to the recording camera. Was this broken down truck?
Could we now move back to 11:45 and stop there?
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer.
So the same video, but just stop at that minute, at that timestamp, 11 minutes 45 seconds. Mr. Hodja, from that video that we have just played to you, you yourself indicated to the prosecutor where the broken down truck was parked, was located. And it was, as we can see on this image, it was not, as you claimed yesterday, in the middle of the yard, but it was rather next to the wall of the warehouse where you worked. Do you confirm that?
Mr. Prosecutor, you are forgetting that this interview was given 20 years after the war. And secondly, I was not prepared to be in an interview because I didn't think that these things I would ever need these things in my life. And when I actually gave this interview, it could so happen that I may have been mistaken, but now, in the past 2 years that I've been questioned again, I've had time to think about the entire scene, what it was like, and to the extent of my memory. So, but back then, I was not prepared when I was first asked. So it could so happen that I may have said a truck, but I am telling you there were 3 or 4 instead.
Discussing the number of trucks. Right now, we are discussing the position where the broken down truck was located. And the prosecutor, as I have just demonstrated, the prosecutor pointed his finger at the location where the broken down truck was parked. He asked you, do you agree that this is the location? You said, yes, it's there. And then, in front of you, actually, you have it. The finger is pointing exactly at the place where is the wall of the warehouse. It doesn't point anywhere even near to the middle of the yard. Do you agree?
In actual fact, it's in parallel. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was parked precisely by the wall. So it's in parallel, in tandem, where the trucks were parked. Otherwise, if one looks at the recordings, all the while, there are other parts when one would actually see the broken down trucks, but these are the 3 or 4, because those trucks that were coming in and out were carrying military materials, but also foodstuffs. There were other trucks as well, not just the ones that were broken down and parked. There were other trucks inside the courtyard of the metal factory. So if you look at the film, for instance, at the footage, you would actually see the other trucks, and I can show exactly which ones were the broken down ones.
Defense counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor, and apologies. I think the witness might need to leave the courtroom for our objection, for our point of procedure on this.
We will proceed in this way. Mr. Witness, you will be ushered out for a few minutes. You have the floor, defense counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor, and apologies for the interruption from my Lord colleague.
Apologies are not needed in this courtroom for this kind of interventions.
Okay. Your Honor, we pointed yesterday, and this was a portion that my Lord colleague mentioned to the witness to start with, and we want to re-indicate this portion at page 23, lines 15 to 19, where this witness has spoken about so there were, of course, even there, trucks parked. So before engaging in one truck or many, this has to be clarified, whether this witness means parked, means part of the broken ones that were parked, because we have combined parked and broken down. That is the first point, Your Honor, out of fairness for clarification. And the second thing is, as we can see now, and before it moves away, the photo that is shown is actually a panorama photo that is a lot of photos stick together. So this is a point that we need to refer to, because this has been an issue also with another part of the compound. Those are points we want to alert to, because if we are going to confront the witness, we have to give him the full image of the situation in terms of the documents used and in terms of what he said in different parts.
Could you explain this panorama issue, because it's not clear to me?
In many places in the interview, there is a reference to photos in the panorama.
But I mean, but specifically with regard to this picture, I see a picture and I see a finger, and I see the finger pointing at a place on the picture. What is the issue that you want to make with us with regard to the problem that it's a panorama picture? Because we are not looking at the whole panorama, we are looking at this specific point.
Yes, Your Honor, and I seized the opportunity that the witness is not here, because there was the issue with the other part where the witness has said that he didn't see, never saw this picture of the white building, yes, as it was. And so he said there was a panorama, that's the only thing you showed me, and here we have the opportunity to see bits that are stick together, just to since we have the image, to show Your Honors that it is not ERN by ERN specific individual photos, but this is what is referred to as panorama. What we believe that we see, and from the transcripts, is that collated photos have been put together to show to the witness. So that's the point we wanted to alert to in order to understand and maybe clarify things.
Okay, you have clarified that, but with regard to this specific topic, I don't see an issue. Mr. Prosecutor will be given the opportunity to react on this, and then I will say what I have to say. Mr. Prosecutor, is there something you would like to submit?
First, you know, just a few very short remarks. First of all, I'm not talking about trucks. I'm talking about broken down trucks only, not the ones parked, not the ones that were coming and going. I'm talking only about the trucks the witness mentioned several times yesterday himself. 3 to 4 broken down trucks, and I'm only focusing on this. Earlier today, I demonstrated that in the SPO interview, he mentioned only one such broken down truck. Not any other truck, broken down truck. Later on, if you read the whole SPO transcript of the interview, the progression of the interview leaves no doubt that the prosecutor was methodically discussing the issue of the broken down trucks. The question was about where he slept. He said there was this place. And then immediately after, the witness was directed to indicate the place where that broken down truck was located. And he showed that at the wall. So I don't believe that there is any doubt about the location that the witness himself mentioned at the SPO interview. That he's now departing from that, it's a wholly different issue. But I don't think that we presented this in any manner which is unfair to the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Does Victims' Counsel want to add something?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. In this respect, Defense Counsel, what Your request is to have a portion put to the witness. That's the bottom. No, you don't have to stand. Just a yes or no. You want to have a certain portion put to the witness in order to be fair to him. Yeah.
And it is about numbers, not about the place. We agree that the place is what is shown here.
And then I will say to you that if you think that there's a need for clarification, in redirect, you can put this specific point to him. But the questions that we have had till now, in my view, and that was the reason that I was kind of hesitant to give you the floor, I think they are all relevant. I did not see any misleading. The portion put to him, and there's another portion too, it's very clear that it's about broken trucks, and yesterday we discussed broken trucks, and it was a question that I would have posed if the SPO would not have said that they would have discussed it. I would have posted right away at the start of the testimony. Your objection is, oh, no. No, we are not going into discussion. No, but I did not give you, no, defense counsel. Defense counsel, please. No, I did not give you the floor, and you cannot stand up and just start talking through me. So no, I am now giving my ruling, yeah? So I say the objection is overruled, and you can, when the moment is there, when your second turn comes, you can take the floor. But please don't start talking through me. I will not allow for that. Madame Kortescher, could you bring the witness in again? Mr. Prosecutor, you have the floor again. Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Thank you. Mr. Hoxha, how did you travel from Germany to Kukes? By which means of transportation?
I traveled by 4x4.
Did you park that car at the premises of the Kukes Metal Factory when you arrived there?
No, there was a match in Italy, and then an accident, in Italy, and it was from there that we traveled differently, and we went to Kukes by escort, and it was the car of a friend of mine.
Speaking about this car of the friend of yours, did you park that car in the Kukes Metal Factory?
Yes, inside the courtyard.
In which location?
Mr. Prosecutor, yes. I see that Mr. Shala has raised his hand, so I will see what Mr. Shala wants to say. Mr. Shala, on what? No. On what do you want to make a comment? No.
Thank you. I just need I need some clarification with my counsel. Just a quick question, perhaps, if you would allow me just for some consultation, some time for consultation.
Thank you, Mr. Shala. Well noted. We will have the break at 11 o'clock, and you will be put into the position to consult with your lawyer. Yes?
Thank you.
We proceed.
Your Honor, it is simply about the case because it has just been proposed right now. It is about this particular juncture, the drawing, and that's...
Shala, but now is not the moment to interrupt proceedings in order to have a consultation. We will proceed now with the questioning, and your defense team will consult with you. And if there's a matter that should be clarified, it will be done afterwards. Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Mr. Hoxha, let me ask you the question again. That car in which you traveled from, of your friend, in which you traveled from Tirana to Kukës, where was it parked in the Kukës metal factory premises?
Madam Court Officer, please take the pictures down.
Inside the courtyard of the factory, that's where it was parked. By the main gates, where the entrance to the warehouse was, it was parked to the left.
Was it parked at the wall of the warehouse or another place?
Close to the wall, actually.
I would like to read to you a very short part of your SPO statement that deals with exactly the place where your car was parked. And this would be, Your Honors, 077-857 TR-ET Part 2, page 7, lines 19 to 22.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer.
Page 7, lines 19 to 22 of the English transcript. The prosecutor asked you the same question about the place where your car was parked. Listen to this. Question: and where was your personal car parked during the time you were at Kukës? Your answer was, it was parked over there, just by the truck or the lorry I mentioned earlier, so it was parked all the time there. For your information, the lorry that you are speaking here about is exactly the broken down lorry that we are just discussing. So, from this part of this SPO interview, it seems that your car was parked next to the broken down truck. And today, a few minutes ago, yourself said that my car was parked close to the wall of the warehouse. Is that the case?
I'm sorry, Mr. Prosecutor, but our car would move. It wouldn't stay at the same time all the time. It wouldn't be parked at the same time, at the same place all the time. It would move, it would go away, and it had a problem. It broke down, and a friend fixed it. But as I said, the car would move, and it would not be parked at the same place. That was a working car. When our comrades needed the car, they would use it and go wherever they were assigned to go. However, usually it was parked at the place that I mentioned. I can't guarantee 100% that it was at the same place, but because it would be parked at various places as the car would go to different places on assignment, and then when it came back, it was parked where there was place for it to park.
Let me put to you the following. Speaking logically, why would anyone place one or more broken trucks in the middle of the compound? That would disrupt the movement of people, vehicles, which were coming and going and moving within the compound, instead of somewhere at the site. What is your answer to that?
Nunca sende tu
That was not my task to tell people where to park those trucks. It was somebody else's responsibility. I had my own responsibility, my own task, and I carried it out honorably. I didn't deal with other things. I didn't even have the time to look after myself during that period, not only, let alone deal with these smaller details and record them. It was wartime. You forget about that fact. So many people were killed in Kosovo, children, babies to 13-year-old in Kosovo. And now you're asking me about one car as if I were a criminal. I don't understand.
Mr. Hoxha, I'm not suggesting in any way that you're a criminal. We are just trying to elicit from you what really happened. What was that you saw and experienced at the premise of the Cookers factory? That's why I'm trying to be as detailed as possible. It's not in any way to demean you in any fashion, or I'm not trying to make any accusations towards you. So let me be clear that I'm just trying to get to the bottom of the truth about what happened, what you saw, what you experienced, nothing else.
Mr. Prosecutor, it happens to people that they forget what they ate for dinner last night, let alone remember things that happened 25 years ago.
I would like to
proceed.
I would like to change the subject a little bit.
Yes,
It's going to be a
because
short
this
exchange.
topic we have been
course.
working on for a while.
Yes, yes, I have exhausted this one. I would like to come back to the issue that we had yesterday, namely the white building that was the subject of our extensive discussion yesterday. Mr. Hoxha, yesterday at page 94, lines 17-23, at page 103, lines 13 to 14, and at page 105, lines 5 and 10, you told us that the photograph depicting the white building that we discussed yesterday, and which you marked with number 5 on the aerial photograph, was not shown to you during the SPO interview in 2020. You even indicated that you never saw that photo in your life, and you said that at page 103, lines 13 to 14, lines 20 to 21, and at page 112, lines 20 to 21. Is that the case?
Yes, correct. I had never seen that picture in my whole life, or the other photo that was shown after that. I had never seen them before. The prosecution did not show them to me. I had not seen it before.
Very well. In this regard, let me show you a short video of your SPO interview from 2020. And Your Honors, it would be at the ear end of this video would be 077857B, part 2, red.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer.
We could also put on the screen the corresponding transcript of that interview in English. It would be 077857 TR ET part 2, page 22.
Please proceed.
It will be from line 1 to 12. Yes, exactly as it is. So if you could play this video clip from 50:15 to 51:34.
Detali që është në foto, yes.
I'll show this also to the cameras.
Do t'ja tregoj edhe kamerës këtë.
I will show this to the camera.
Underneath the metal gantry,
Pra nën vincin metalik.
and I understand that by the date these photos in the panorama were taken, a small building that used to exist at the position I showed you with my finger used to be there but had been destroyed.
Dhe me sa kuptoj në atë kohë që nuk është në këtë fotografinë panoramike, ka qenë një ndërtesë e vogël që është tani është shkatruar.
And there's a photograph on the page with ERN 074390.
Është një foto me numër 074390.
This is a structure that I understand used to exist at the position I showed you just now in the panorama.
Kjo është një ndërtesë që ekzistonte më përpara në atë vendin ku unë tregova me gisht në fotografinë panoramike.
Mr. Hoxha, it was your interview with the SPO, and this is the building that we discussed yesterday at length. Do you still claim that you were not shown this white building during the SPO interview and that you never saw that photo before?
Mos më kujtohet.
I don't remember seeing this photograph. When they showed me the photographs of the metal factory, they were long. There were two parts of the buildings, but in the middle, where you are saying that this part was, it was stuck with sellotape in the middle, but I never saw this building.
Mr. Witness, I would like to just recap what we heard from you about this building today and yesterday. So, you worked in the warehouse, the entrance of which was in the same courtyard as this white building. You stated that at times you worked out of the warehouse in the courtyard. You also happened to sleep in the yard. You were also walking through the yard going to the warehouse, to the sleeping quarters, to the kitchen, to the medical facility. You apparently also occasionally participated in the physical exercises in the yard. And it also seems that the broken down truck was not in the middle of the yard, but was at the warehouse wall and did not obstruct your view of that building. Do you still maintain that you don't remember that building, that white building, which was rather a big structure, situated practically in the middle of the yard?
Yes, I maintain that position. I did not see it. I did not have the time to deal with other buildings or other facilities. I had my own tasks, and actually I went from the sleeping quarters to my working station to the depot.
Mr. Hoxha, we have heard evidence from witnesses in this case that at the time you were working in the Kukes metal factory, this building was used to detain people. The detention of people at the Kukes metal factory was also established in the trials against Sabit Getzi and Jemshid Krasniqi, who were convicted for the detention and mistreatment of the people in that location. Were you aware were you aware at the time you were at the Kukas Metal Factory that there were people detained in that building?
No, I wasn't.
Did you subsequently become aware of it after the convictions of Mr. Sabit Getzi and Jemshid Krasniqi?
Yes, I learned about it much later.
Did you learn about it?
I don't remember. I couldn't tell you. I don't know which year it was.
I'd like to very quickly ask you about some locations where you slept while in the Kukas Metal Factory. So for now, we have established that you slept for some time in the warehouse where you worked, and this is at page 82, lines 21, 24, also at page 84, line 14. Correct?
I didn't sleep there for some time. I slept there only for one night or two max. I'm not sure about how many nights, but 1 or 2 nights only.
Also mentioned that on one occasion you slept in that broken down truck, and we have it at page 114, line 2021 of yesterday's provisional transcript, correct?
Yes.
In certain room, it was the office of Latif Faizulahu of 9 to 10 square meters in the building, where there were 3 beds, page 6, lines 18, page 7, line 1, 2, 7 of yesterday's transcript, correct?
Yes. 95% of the times I would sleep there.
Did you sleep also in other locations, apart from those that I have just mentioned?
No, I didn't.
Your Honors, very quickly I would like to put on the screen the SPO interview. It's 077857 TRET part 1, page 18.
Please proceed.
Again, it's page 18, lines from 15 to 24. Mr. Hoxha, the question of the prosecutor, and where were you sleeping? And your answer, well, it was everywhere. To tell you the truth, everywhere. I didn't have a bed that I would go on my own bed. Anywhere where I could find a place to sleep, I would sleep. And often, never the same place, because it was a kind of moving process there. There were people there, soldiers coming from Tirana on the way to Kosovo, so sometimes I couldn't sleep in a bed. I would sleep in a truck or anywhere rough. But that's how it happened. From this short exchange with the prosecutor, it seems that you slept in many locations, wherever there was space available. Is that correct?
I mentioned it before that sometimes I slept at the warehouse, sometimes it would happen that I slept in the truck, sometimes in a bed. I did not have my own bed. As I said yesterday in Latif Fizulah's office, there was a foam mattress under a bed, and Bedria Zemi and I would sleep there, taking turns. When I was first to go there, I would pull out the foam mattress and sleep on it and leave the bed to him. When he went there before me, he would pull out the foam mattress and leave the bed to me. So I did not have an assigned bed to me. There were so many soldiers, we did not have enough places to sleep.
Speaking about Kukës metal factory and activities there, was it a busy place during the time you were there?
That was the main logistics for the front, for the Shigeta or Arrow operation. All the brigades that came into Kosovo from Kruma would come to that, would pass through our barracks. They would get supplies in weapons, food, and so on. So there was a lot of circulation. This would also happen at night, not only during the day.
Noisy place?
No, I wouldn't say noisy. Normal noise, normal sounds made by people circulating, but everybody had their own tasks, their own responsibilities.
You have just told us that it was the place where people were coming and going, trucks were coming and going. I understand it was a logistical hub where trucks were coming to get supplies, they were loading stuff, offloading stuff, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever see non-military vehicles parked inside the courtyard?
In fact, we did not have any military vehicles. All of our vehicles were civilian. As I said yesterday, we did not have our own state. We did not have a regular army. That was a voluntary army. And people donated things to the army. Somebody would bring a vehicle, somebody would bring a jeep, and everything was voluntary because it wasn't an obligation to anyone. So all our equipment and vehicles were civilian. I can't say that any of them were military.
On some of the videos, there were trucks in the yard coming and going and parked, correct?
Yes.
Lorries, we saw one blue van, for example, exiting the premises. So there were also smaller cars like vans, correct, there?
Yes, there were vans that had come from Switzerland, and their license plates were Swiss license plates. They were not military, and many of the vehicles there did not have license plates at all because we did not have the right to use Albanian license plates.
Came in from Tirana to Kukës. What car was it? Do you remember the make of the car?
Ajo ka pas të
It had German license plates.
Plates. If you remember, of course.
Ford Escort.
It was a Ford Escort.
Were there more cars like this, coming and going, parked, like yours? Not the trucks, not the vans, but just small cars like this one at Kukas in 1999.
Nuk e di, s'm kujto.
I don't know, I don't remember. I was not there at the gate to look at the cars and keep a logbook. As I told you, most of the time I was on the field.
Understandable. I've got just the last very short line of questions, just a few, Your Honors. It would take me 5 minutes tops. Do you recall, among the supplies of the logistics department, whether there were any flak jackets or bulletproof vests that the KLA stored in Kukas?
Xaketa ushtarake ka pas.
Flak jackets, there were many. I don't know about bulletproof vests. Perhaps there were those as well. I brought bulletproof vests from Germany to Albania by plane, as a matter of fact.
So, do you know how many of those bullets did you bring from Germany?
I remember one occasion when I brought 20. It was 1998.
Your Honors, could I just put before the witness a very short part of his statement? It's 077-857-TRET, part 4, page 31.
I understand to confront him with his prior
This is exactly the
remarks
reason.
on this. Very
Yes.
well. Madam Court Officer, please proceed.
It would be part 4, page 31. Is it page 31? Yes. Could you just move up? Might not be the correct page. So my colleague will find the right page, but maybe in the meantime I'll ask the witness a question also about what he has just said.
Please
But we'll
proceed,
come
but
back to
not
it.
yet on this. What you want? Yes. But
Yes,
please
yes,
with
yes.
another question.
So you said that at one point you brought around 20 flak jackets. Did you bring more flak jackets from Germany on other occasions?
Po.
Yes,
Kom sen faktiskt.
I worked for the Homeland Calls Fund, and one of my duties was to bring military supplies from Germany.
Other occasions when you brought the flak jackets from Germany?
Po mundet me ndodh si kanë qenë
Tens of occasions, not only one occasion. The war lasted for 2 years. We started the war from scratch. We did not have anything, nothing at all. And from zero, we had to find supplies and to provide supplies within our means.
Jackets sent from Germany to Kukas. You said there were tens of occasions. So on those tens of occasions, you were sending those flak jackets from Germany to Kukas? Is that what you are saying?
No, I didn't send them to Kukus. I sent them to Tirana. And then I don't know where they were distributed to from Tirana. What we did was send those supplies to Tirana, and then drivers were engaged and to distribute them. There were thousands of such supplies sent to Tirana, and then where they were sent onwards from Tirana, I don't know.
Just to be sure that the transcript is correct,
Yes.
we are at page 34, line 7. So do you know how many of those bullets?
Bulletproof vests.
Bulletproof vests.
Not bullets, bulletproof vests.
Okay, thank you. We've noted.
Yes.
Now it's recorded. Thank you.
I think the citation that I was trying to find could be at page 29. Let's move to the bottom if it's 29. But it starts at the previous page. We want to go the whole question and then the answer. Stop here.
If we can help, Your Honor.
Yeah. As a matter of more general remark, it's good that we indicate if you are referring to the page numbering at the right side of the page or the numbering of the PDF, because that is not always the same, and then we get misunderstandings. Defense Counsel, I see you standing. You were trying to assist us in this?
Yes, Your Honor. It's page 31 in the PDF, 29 of the actual document, and we would like to have the Albanian as well. This is the practice, as instructed by Your Honors, for the SPU to indicate the corresponding Albanian for the witness. It is the way we've proceeded so far. We don't see any reason to depart from it. Thank you.
Your Honor, we could also ask the interpreters to help us to really interpret everything verbatim, so it should not be an issue, I think.
No, but I do agree with, and I was, to be honest, there's an email already prepared to ask that in general it's good to have to both because that has been our line of working, and so our direction would be that in general, and sometimes there can be an exception if you have a video, but it is helpful also for the witness, if Albanian is the language he talks in, to have that. So I agree with Defense Counsel. I do understand. Do you have it at this moment?
The Albania we don't. We just have an English indication. So it starts at page 28 at the very, very bottom, line 24, and it continues on the next page.
Yeah. I will allow for it now, but we have this as a general rule, and for the next time, then I won't send the email. We have now said it out loud on this, and we proceed with both language.
Of course, we will comply with that, Your Honors.
Very well.
Yes, this is exactly the place where you could start. Mr. Hoxha, again, this is part of your interview with the SPO, it's part 4. And the question of the bulletproof vests was discussed with you. The prosecutor asks you, do you recall among the, sorry, 1 second, do you recall among the supplies of the logistics, do you recall among the supplies of the logistics department whether there were any flak jackets or bulletproof vests that the KLA had stored in Kukas? And your answer was yes, there were. And I have also sent hundreds of them from Germany to there. There was a meeting, and we couldn't supply those to all the soldiers, of course. So first of all, you are saying that you sent hundreds of them. Is that correct?
Yes, as I said earlier, on one occasion I brought them to Tirana myself, and that is 20 pieces. But on other occasions they were sent by truck from Germany to Tirana. So yes, it was the case that there have been hundreds.
It's not about Tirana, this exchange, because it's about Kukas. The question talks about bulletproof vests stored in Kukas, and your answer is, I sent hundreds of them from Germany to there, namely to Kukas. What would you say to that?
Direct in Cooks, direct.
Directly to Kukas? No, I've never sent military supplies directly to Kukas myself. And I sent those from Germany to Albania, not directly to Kukas. Because when I got to Kukas, I didn't even have a weapon. And then I received my weapon in Kukas. Because personal weapon I didn't have when I was in Tirana. Because in Tirana we didn't need weapons, so we weren't fighting Tirana, but Serbia.
Where were those bulletproof vests stored within the premises of the Kukas metal factory? In which location precisely?
That I do not know. It wasn't part of my tasks. My tasks were to deal with weapons, not foodstuffs, not clothing, not bulletproof vests. My duty was to deal with the weapons in general.
Mr. Prosecutor, I have a question for clarification.
Yes.
Mr. Witness, did you bring flak jackets or also bulletproof vests from Germany?
Your Honor, I did both flak jackets and uniforms as well as bulletproof vests.
That's enough for me. Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Maybe one last question on this issue. So you don't know whether they were stored, the bulletproof vests, but perhaps you've seen bulletproof vests there in the premises of the Kukas Magno factory. If so, where did you see them?
I've already said that I didn't know where they were kept. It wasn't my duty. That was somebody else's duty to deal with. I don't know whether it was Latif Fezullah or Bedriya Dime, I don't know. My task was to look after the weapons. I minded my own business rather than get involved in other people's business.
It's 5 minutes to 11, Mr. Prosecutor.
Your Honor, just 1 second. I need to consult with my colleague. Your Honor, that would conclude my cross-examination of this witness. Thank you, Mr. Hoxha.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you very much.
So, I counted here also approximately 4 hours, so we are even in that respect. Yes. Mr. Shala, I will first conclude with the witness and then I will give you the floor. Not now yet. I will give you the floor. Mr. Witness, we will now have a break of half an hour till 11:30. Although maybe I will first see what is coming, then I can inform you about that too. Victims' Counsel, do you have any questions for the witness?
I do not, thank you, Honor.
Very well. At the side of the defense team, would you like to have a second round for the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much, yes. But a short one. I think I could have only one question and about an identification of place, but it could be very short.
Okay, very well. Mr. Witness, you will be ushered out and then we see you back at 11:30.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Shala, you have the floor.
Your Honor, I think that there are two questions, but I would like to ask my counsel, and I think we have two questions, not one, rather. Thank you very much. But I will consult my counsel.
Given that possibility now during the break. So, and if your counsel says one, even if it are 3 or 4, that is, of course, not a problem.
Thank you very much.
For now, Victims' Counsel, not, and Defense Counsel. Then we take a break. The hearing is adjourned.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back, everyone. We are starting a little bit later, but I understood that there were some technical problems to get into touch with Mr. Shala, but eventually you managed, I see, yes. Okay, the SPO is in the same composition. That goes also for victims count. So, and here on my left-hand side, I see a slight change, isn't it, Mr. Gillison?
Yes, indeed, Johanna. It's almost the same team. I'm very proud to present you Mrs. Melissa McKay. She is our new legal officer, and she's very pleased to appear before you for the first time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Well noted. And for the record, Mr. Shala is here. Can you hear me fine, Mr. Shala, via the video connection?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Good. Yes, we finalized the SPO cross-examination. Mr. Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Yes, Your Honors, we have finalized our cross-examination. However, as promised before the break, we would like to express our position in relation to the documents and the counsel assigned to the witness that is due to testify hopefully tomorrow. So we have reviewed the documents in question.
Sorry, I would like to go into private session.
Of course, Your Honor.
Madam Court Officer, can you bring us into private session, please?
Your Honors, we are now in public session.
Very well. Good. I will now have the witness ushered in for the continuation of his testimony. And it will be your turn again, defense counsel. Yes? Very well. I see you nodding. Thank you, Madam Court Usher. Welcome back, Mr. Hocha.
Hello, thank you.
I will give the floor now to the defense counsel again for some additional questions. Yes, defense counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
Talking about the room that was shown in the video yesterday, where you gathered with other KLA members to sing after the funeral of Abderrahman Gerdelay. Reference is transcript 21st November 2023, page 3289 to 3294. At the provisional transcript of today, at page 30, line 6 to 8, you said you slept in the office of Latif Fezouladou 95% of the time. For clarification and to avoid any misunderstanding, I would like to call up the picture here, EG 00983, I'm sorry, with your leave, Your Honor, of course.
What is the background of showing this picture to the witness and defense counsel?
Yeah, that's the same picture we saw, in my opinion, it was not yesterday, the day before, but without, of course, the mark that the witness made 2 days ago.
It's not completely clear to me, but please proceed.
Yeah. It's a question of identification.
Very well.
I think it's not this one.
No.
LEG 00983. This is the one?
Yes? Okay. Very well. Thank you, Madam Court Officer.
You're very helpful. Thank you very much. So, So, Mr. Witness, could you please mark on this picture where the latif fezuladuhu is or was? Which window was this place?
Defense Counsel, you mean the room of Mr. Fejulau?
My next question, first the office, because he talked about an office, and then he talked about the room where they gather to sing. So I would like to ask first, where was the office of this latif? And then, where is the room where they gather to sing after the funeral?
Okay. That makes sense. In the question, there was no reference to the place, only to the name. So
No.
it was written where the latif Fejulau is or was, but that was not your intention. The office.
Yeah.
Okay, very well.
Thank you very much. Is it clear for you, Mr. Witness?
Boa sorte.
Yes, it is clear. And it is already noted by number 2.
So may we say, to be sure, that this number 2 is also the latif office? First, that's my question.
Porkjaar.
Yes, that's the one.
And is it the place where you were gathered singing after the funeral of Mr. Gerdelay?
Porkjaar.
Yes, that's the room.
Thank you very much. It's over with this picture, and I can go to another topic.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer.
So I would like to have, and could we show the statement of the witness, ERM 077857-TA-ET, part 2, red 2.
Defense Counsel, what is the purpose of starting out with the statement? Is there not a first question you would like to put and then to
Yes.
show the statement?
Yeah. In 3 passages of this statement, it was asked to the witness to show roughly or approximatively a place. And we have a finger on the wall, not on a place in the courtroom. And I would like that in the Albanian version, because I will provide, of course, the reference in the Albanian version, we will be able, and you will be able to see that it was asked roughly to show an approximatively place for this famous truck we were talking just before the break.
Okay, but there's not a question you would like to ask first to the witness? I mean, the intention is to elicit information from him now, and then...
Yes, it's ask him to confirm the way he was asked to show the thing. Because today it was presented as it was not rough or approximatively. I didn't hear these words. That's why I wake up after Mr. Awilling. And it's important, of course. They ask, it was there, roughly there, and now I hear that it was just on the front of the wall. The finger don't point the front of the hole. It was pointing almost the roof of the building, and the truck was not on the roof of the building. All of us agree on that. So I would like to propose to the witness to confirm or not he was asked roughly to show and not very precisely the place where was this famous truck he slept in.
Yeah, with this explanation, there is no question anymore for the witness because everything has been translated. So we may proceed, but it would have been better to escort him out because we have already discussed it now all. That's one thing. The other thing is I will never discuss with you on the content what you want to tell me, but it's on the mode and the way. That was my only problem. For the rest, I will give you the floor when asked for it, but not while I'm talking. That was the only thing. Let us be clear about that. I will never interrupt you. I will never say that you cannot say something.
That's nice of you. Thank you very much. And this is the first time, except if I make a mistake, but I think I don't make a mistake, the witness is able to see his statement in Albanian language. So that's why I would like to focus on, because he saw the English version, but not what he heard at this moment and what he said exactly.
Yeah, I will show we'll allow for pulling it up. I just tell you that by having given this explanation, the answer of the witness is kind of colored because you have been explaining everything around it. So anyway, Madam Court Officer, if you have you have the number, so you can pull it up. And to come back to your remark, defense counsel, that the first time he sees his statement in Albanian, we have been listening to different excerpts where he has been in a position to listen to himself in Albanian, and I would say that that is no different than having the statement in Albanian. So, just for the record. Thank you, Madam Court Officer.
I'm sorry. In the English version, I would like that the witness could be able to read page 5, line 24, to page 6, line 5, particularly on the line 25, 3, and even to go till page 7 to line 5. And the last interesting line is on the page 7, line 4. I can, of course, repeat it. This is the English one, and and in the Albanian version, I think we have page 6, line 17 to page 7, line 2. On the page 7, line 19 to 21 could be interesting too. Yes, please, Mr. Witness, with your leave, of course.
Please proceed.
Thank you very much. Please, Mr. Witness, could you read the excerpt you are seeing on the screen?
I think it's better that you read it out because we don't have a control over what he is reading. So if you want to have something put on record, then you must read it.
In English, of course.
Yes,
because
yes.
my Albanian language is very poor.
That's clear.
Yeah. So I start with the page 5, line 23, Mr. Eldekin. I am just going to use the camera here to show I am pointing in the right place roughly. Page 6, line 1, the witness, yes, Mr. Eldekin. So I will turn the camera so Mr. Oxa had just say, yes, this is roughly the area where the broken down truck was. I now showing to the recording camera, and I pass through until page 7, line 3, it's a question, and you are pointing to the same place where we have just indicate with my finger approximatively the location of the broken down truck. Is that right? And the answer is yes, correct. So my question is very simple, of course. Mr. Witness, when you confirm the so-called place where was this famous truck, was it roughly and approximatively with a finger pointing the wall of the whole of the bâtiment?
Yes, approximately. Yes, approximately it was there. Accurately and precisely, with the finger you can't really show it, point to it, but yes, it was there actually. Approximately, roughly at that part there, because that bit was in the middle, across it. So from the wall to the other end, they were parked there.
Thank you very much. I think it's very clear and it's better for us, for us all. I don't speak about the defense, and I have no more question. And I thank you very much, my honor.
Thank you, Defense Counsel. For the, I see that there's maybe an unclarity in the transcript, page 53, line 19. With a finger pointing the wall of the whole of the battalion, that is the building, I suppose.
Yes, it
yes.
is.
Yes, okay. Very well, just for the record.
Is it clear? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, also, Defense Counsel have finished in the second round with his questions. Is there from the side of the Specialist Prosecutor's Office a question building on this?
Your Honors, we are not going to ask any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Victims' Counsel.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Very well. Mr. Witness, there are no questions anymore from the side of the parties and Victims' Counsel, neither are there questions from the side of the judges of the panel. So that means that this is the end of your testimony before this panel in this case. And I would like to thank you very much for your efforts you have put in this 2.5 days of testimony. I remind you that you should not discuss your testimony with anyone, and I wish you a safe trip home. Madame Court Usher will usher you out now. Thank you.
Thank you. You were quite correct. Thank you.
Very well. We will now have our lunch break, and I propose to do it as follows. We will break now till 2 o'clock, and then have 1.5 hour break, and 1.5 hour session, of course, then 10 minutes break, and we will liaise to see if we can have then another 20 minutes or half an hour. Yes? So I wish you a good lunch, and the hearing is adjourned.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back. Mr. Shala, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Can you repeat what you said? I did.
Meneer Van Dirk.
I did not hear a translation. I did hear the voice of Mr. Shala, but no.
Yes, I can hear you very well, thank you. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you.
On the right-hand side, the SPO is in the same composition, goes for Victims' Counsel 2, and here on the left-hand side also, yes.
Yeah, we have
Oh, yes,
two.
no, sorry. I
Yeah.
overlooked one person.
Yes, Ms. Kelling Chen and Ms. Deborah Thiebaud join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We noted that. Yes, we will now proceed with the hearing of the testimony of the witness 4441, Mrs. Savate Hadad-Jonai. I will ask the court usher to bring her in. Oh, no, excuse me, I see the prosecutor, Madam Prosecutor standing, but there's something else I want to discuss. So before we go into the testimony of the witness, I would like to do something else, but first the floor for Madam Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honors. Yes, I have just two brief procedural matters to raise with the panel. So we have taken note of Your Honor's directions that when showing the prior statement of the witness, we should be also showing both the English and Albanian version. However, for the witness W04440, the SPO is not in possession of an Albanian version of those SPO interviews, and that is because those were disclosed to the defense under Rule 103, so we did not have an obligation to disclose also the Albanian versions of those transcripts. So we are actually just seeking some guidance from the panel on how you would like us to proceed in this regard. This is a witness called by the defense, of course, so I don't know if perhaps the defense had, in the meantime, been able to have those statements translated, or whether Your Honors would like to proceed for this specific situation, given also the short time between today and possibly tomorrow, the start of the testimony, to proceed as we have done before, or in whatever best way the judges think would be best to proceed. I just wanted to raise this matter because of the directions we received this morning.
Yes, very well. The directions apply in principle, and I will give you the floor, in principle, to the prior statements we have been using up to now, where we had an English and an Albanian version. That was the procedure we applied. But if I do understand you well, you're saying you don't have an Albanian version of this statement? Is that what you're saying?
That is correct, Your Honors, yes.
But what there is not cannot be made so quickly, unless if there is a translation of another kind. But I don't think so. That would be completely new to us.
Thank you, Your Honor. And yes, we confirm that there is no Albanian transcript, and that was the reason we contacted the registry to obtain an official translation of the transcript. But they made the fair point that this would be a translation of a translation, since the original language in the audio was the Albanian, and the registry didn't provide transcription services. And so what we did is have the audios, check certain portions for our benefit, especially those that we might have to mention or refer to. So what we can do is, whenever there is details that need to be scrutinized, whenever there is a contention on some responses or details or refreshment, whenever possible, we, all parties, revert back, if necessary, to the audio, because it contains the original speech of the witness, if necessary.
I would say, in principle, only if necessary, because we have our interpretation unit, which functions perfectly and can provide, in principle, all the assistance we need. So. Good. So that was your first point, Madam Prosecutor?
Yes, and the other point is, just briefly, we would like to request the inclusion in our presentation queue for witness W04441, that was coming to today, to add 3 translations of the last 3 exhibits included in our presentation queue. We do have a translation already embedded in the items, but the office has provided a more official translation, and we would kindly request to include those 2. We don't believe there should be prejudice, in the sense that the content of the English is already included in the items that we have already disclosed, but we are just preparing the disclosure of the additional, more official translations as we speak.
Okay. But can you confirm that the translation we were able to see in the document itself is the same as the translation provided in a more official way?
The content is the same. Is of course the translation provided in the document is provided by the, let's say, social media platform from which the main text is taken, and we so wanted to, of course, have a more official translation, but the content from our verifications is the same.
Very well, thank you. I will make the tour. Victims Counsel, is there anything you would like to submit on this?
No, thank you.
Okay. Defense Counsel, who can I give the floor?
Yes, Your Honor, no objection, of course. We would like to have the translation, official one, and thankful for that.
Very well, then that is granted. Good. And the reasons, of course, that no objection, it makes completely sense to have the official translation, and there's no prejudice for the defense in this aspect. Very well. Then we will go now into private session. Madame Court Officer, could you bring us there?
Your Honors, we are now in public session.
Very well. Madam Court Usher, could you bring in Madam Safate Hader-Kojai so that we can start with the taking of the testimony? And Ms. Hader-Kojai will testify without in-court protective measures. So, Defense Counsel, we will be sitting till 3:30. Yes? Please have a seat, Madam Witness. Good afternoon and welcome to the Specialist Chambers.
Good afternoon.
Fine.
Yes, I can hear you fine. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Shala, can you confirm that you can hear the witness?
Yes, I can hear her very well. Thank you.
Madam Witness, how are you?
I'm okay.
Today we will start with your testimony. It's still a question to me why we had to revert to summons to ensure your presence in this courtroom. But anyway, here we are. Before we begin with the questions for you, I have several remarks. Madam Witness, you are called to testify before the Specialist Chambers in the case of the Specialist Prosecutor's Office versus Peter Shala to assist this panel of judges to reach a verdict. First, we will start with taking your solemn declaration to tell the truth. After that, you will be asked questions by first Defense Counsel of Mr. Peter Shala, sitting on that side with the red robes. Then the lawyers for the Specialist Prosecutor's Office, the colleagues with the robes in purple, and then the lawyer representing the victims participating in this case, sitting on your left hand nearest to you, and then by us, the judges of this panel. Yeah. Before you take your solemn declaration to tell the truth, I would like to give you some guidance and some practical advice for answering the questions that we will put to you. So, Madam Witness, please. Listen carefully to each question. If you don't understand, feel free to ask the question to be repeated. We want you to tell the truth and to tell us what you saw, what you experienced, what you heard yourself. If you did not hear or see it yourself, but you found out in some other way, you should explain to us how. You may not remember all the details of the events, and this is perfectly fine. Please, in that case, just tell us what you remember. Do not guess. Do not make things up. It suffices to say, I don't know, I don't remember. Please only answer the questions put to you. If we need any further clarification, we will ask you. And I also remind you that you have the right to object, to provide your testimony on issues that might tend to incriminate you pursuant to Rule 151, Paragraph 1 of the Rules of Procedures and Evidence. Madam Witness, have you understood all this?
Well,
Yes.
Also some practical advice for you with regard to your testimony. Please take note that everything we say here is translated and recorded. So it is important to speak into the 2 microphones in front of you, to speak clearly, and to speak at a slow pace, to allow the interpreters to translate everything. And it's also important that you should only start speaking when the person asking you a question has finished. So when a question is asked, it helps if you wait for 5 seconds and then you start talking, because that will allow the interpreters to finalize their interpretation and everything that is recorded to be recorded, and then we can proceed. If I raise my hand, please stop talking. That I raise my hand instead of talking in order to avoid that we overlap. Yeah? And it can be that I will ask you on certain occasions to leave the courtroom. Madam Court Usher will then accompany you, because in that way we can discuss the content of a question to be posed to you. If you have any questions, if you need a break, or there's something else you would like to share with the panel, please raise your hand, and then I will give you the floor at the moment that is fit for it. Yeah. And lastly, it could be the case that we will ask you to make digital markings. There is a pencil next to your screen, and with that pencil, maybe you can show it, Madame Kortescher, where it is. You can make the markings as requested. Have you understood all this?
well,
Yes.
As I have to do with every witness, Madam Witness, I will now ask you to make your solemn declaration to tell the truth. And I remind you that it is an offense, Madam Witness, to give a false testimony before the specialist chambers panel. You understood that?
well.
Yes.
Can you assist Madam Witness with the text for her declaration to tell the truth? Please, Madam, you may read the text.
Conscious of the significance of my testimony and my legal responsibility, I solemnly declare that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and that I shall not withhold anything that has come to my knowledge.
Now under oath to tell the truth. Now the defense can start with the questioning. Defense counsel, you have 1.5 hours for the questioning, and if there's a change, please inform the panel.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good evening, Mrs. Witness. So, thanks to be here, we have some question to ask to you about different topics, and I think it could be very clear for us to receive some information and to be sure to understand. This is the purpose of the question. So the first topic I would like to go with you, it's a personal question about you. This is witness. Could you please state your name and your surname?
I am Safete Hadrjonai.
Did you have a nickname?
You?
No, never.
What are your date and place of birth?
I was born in Voksh village on the 13th of November 1964, and I live in Dechan since 1975.
So, what level of education do you have?
I finished secondary school in the Vlezrit Frashi school in economics, and then I finished university at the University of Pristina, university studies for economics, and then I also studied for my master's and my PhD in the economics faculty in Pristina. It's Hassan Pristina University in the Republic of Kosovo.
Thank you very much. It was very clear. So, did you have a work before the 1998-1999 war? Did you work?
Paul?
Yes, I worked. After finishing my studies in economics in 1997, I started working at the Vlezrit Frashri Gymnasium secondary school as a teacher. I worked there for 7 years, and then for 4 years I worked at this school again. From 1990, our schools were closed by the Serbian occupier. They just locked the door. They locked us out, all the students and the professors. So we were obliged to organize our lessons in private homes, and I worked like that for 4 years. Then, after 1994, together with my brother, we set up a tourist agency, and I worked there until 1998, when the police came and closed it down as well. Closed the agency, and we had to stay home. After the war, I worked at the office of the Prime Minister as an official for political issues, and I supervised 2 ministries, the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Economy. Then I worked there for 2 or 3 months, and then I was Director of Administration in the Ministry of Trade and Industry. In 2004, I was part of the candidates list for the parliamentary elections in Kosovo. I ran for Member of Parliament and I won. I became an MP. From 2004 to 2019, I was an MP in the Kosovo Parliament, and at the same time I was a lecturer at the Business College from 2013 to 2017. In from 2019, I am no longer a member of the parliament, and now, presently, I work as an advisor for financial issues to the parliamentary group of the Democratic Party, and I also work part-time at Haji Zeka University. This is briefly my CV and the work I've done.
I want to make 2 points. One point is that for next time, please stick to the question, because the question is what you did before the war. And maybe the lawyer was also interested to know what you were doing after the war, but that was not the question. So for next time, please adhere to what you are asked and then reply to that. That's one thing. The other point is I want to be sure if there's not recorded something wrong in the transcript, or maybe a translation issue, or maybe you said it in this way but you meant something else. That's page 17. You said in 1997 I started working at Vletsit Frashi. You meant 1997?
No, it wasn't 1997. It was 1987 when I finished my university studies. I tried to get a job somewhere else, but it wasn't possible, so...
I just wanted to know the date. So here again, let's stick to the question, because if not, we get a lot of information that maybe is not relevant to what we want to know today. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Johanna. So, would you say you are or you have been a public figure in Kosovo?
After the war, I was a member of parliament. And of course, a member of parliament is a public figure.
So, where were you in 1998?
In 1998, initially I was at home. In April and May of 1998, the situation in Deccan was really tense until the end of May. So during April and May in Deccan there were a lot of military and police forces, because my house is by the Deccan-Jakov main road, and during those the situation that was in Deccan at the time is similar to what we saw in Ukraine.
No, please. I would like to know, the lawyer wants to know where you were in 1998. So I would not go too much in. Oh, no, please don't interrupt me, because if not, we have a problem of interpretation, because then they hear you and me and they don't know what to translate. But please, not too much details. We want to know where you were, so you can say for the different periods where you were, without a lot of details. If there are follow-up questions, they will come. Okay?
Yes, and may I say my next question indeed?
It's good, but now we have April and May and a town with other details that I don't see for now the relevancy for the case, because if we start in 1998 in order to end up in 1999, we have a long way to go. So I want to have it a little bit more concise.
Yeah, of course, I fully understand it. But I would like to know...
Okay, so I will give a brief answer. We did not leave our homes voluntarily. At the end of May, we were forced to leave our homes because the police started to enter our homes, and we left our homes at the beginning of June.
Maybe we will do it differently. Where did you go in June? I only want to know where.
At the end of May, we set off. We left our village. We stayed in a forest for some time. We went to my birth village, to Vox, in order to escape from the police repression. Vox is on the border, so from there we stayed in a forest, and from the forest we went to Albania. For 3 days we walked and we arrived in Tropoja. Myself and some members of my family did not stay overnight in Tropoja. We took a van and we went to Durrës. So at the beginning of June, we settled in a village near to the Durrës beach.
We'll give. I understand that it must not be easy to talk about these facts of those times. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. So, Mrs. Witness, could you provide us a date when you arrived in Albania through the borders?
The attacks against Dejan happened on the 20th, 29th, and 30th, and from my recollection, on the 2nd or the 3rd, we arrived in Durrës. So it was June 1998. It's a bit difficult to remember the dates, and it's also very difficult to go back to that time because we lived through many difficult, a lot of difficult times, and we don't want to go to those recollections.
I fully understand and I respect that. That's very important to be aware about that, because we have to plea on the guilt or not, but also to the sentence, and this is the spiral why so many persons decide to fight. But I intend to respect that. So, are you able enough to provide us with a date concerning your arrival in Durrës?
It was about the 2nd of June, from what I remember, 1998.
Thank you very much. And until when did you stay in Durrës?
I stayed in Durrës until July 1999. After Kosovo was liberated, we remained for a bit longer there because we didn't have a place to go to. Everything had been burnt. But I don't remember the exact date. However, I know that it was towards the end of July.
Thank you very much. And during this period you stay in Durrës, did you leave sometime Durrës to go somewhere else for a trip or something like that?
What do you mean? In Albania? Or outside Albania?
Albania or somewhere else? Really, my question is very general.
Regarding Albania, we settled in Arapai village, which is a village close to the Durrës beach. And my movements there were basically from that village to Douros to get food supplies and other supplies. Or sometimes I would go to Shkozet, which was about 2 or 3 kilometers from the village we were living, because I had some uncles there, and we went to visit them for a short period of time because they then left and went abroad. And a few times I went to Tirana. It was difficult to move at the time because we didn't have any vehicles. We were alone at that home. We were staying at that place, settled there, and we didn't have any vehicles. So that was the extent of my movements in Albania.
Thank you very much. During this period, what did you do during this period of war? Did you have an activity, a special activity in Albania?
No. No activities. In the village where we lived, there were about people from 5 or 6 villages from the same area I came from, Vox, and we would talk to them. Somebody didn't know where their family were or their children were because of the police repression in that area, in the area of Vox, in the municipality of Deccan. I didn't engage in any activities and I wasn't part of any organization.
So during this period, were you member of the KLA?
Unfortunately, I wasn't a member of the KLA, so that I could be proud now to have been a member of the KLA then.
Thank you very much. And have you ever been to Kux or in the town of Kux in Albania, in the north part of Albania?
No, never.
So we have in this case evidentiary material that place you in Kux in spring 1999, and I would like to know your reaction about this information.
Initially, when I started giving my testimony here, made an oath, and I'm saying this under oath, I never was in Kukës, not for even 1 second of my life.
It's very, very clear. So, have you ever visited any KLA headquarters of Kazan during the war?
Never. No KLA headquarters, because I wasn't in Kosovo.
So I would like to be very clear and to cover all the possibilities. So did you contribute in any way to the effort of war during this period?
From the place I wasn't able to contribute to the war effort, but I helped the families that were in the Arapai village, trying to help with their children and to find ways to help them, because there were people who did not have any money with themselves. They had not been able to bring anything from Kosovo. So basically, I helped the people in the village where we settled. That's all.
Thank you very much. So, did you ever receive a medical training or a medical? Did you provide some medical assistance to someone?
Please add when.
Generally speaking, really, did you receive ever any medical training or something like that? Something in relation with a medical?
Would it be relevant if it would have been in 2010?
Even before?
Oh,
Even
yeah, yes, before I can understand,
Yeah.
but after?
Oh, before the war or during the war?
Okay, I think that we should
I
make the
understand.
questions a little bit
I understand
more
it's more
pointed.
clear. Yeah, it's more clear. It's okay.
Zote avocat.
Counsel, neither before the war, nor during the war, not even after the war, never have I received any medical training. I am an economist by training. I have a graduate degree in economics, and after the war, I have also received further training in economics. I have nothing to do with the health field. Whatever I know from health-related issues is to get a paracetamol if I have a headache, and if that doesn't help me, I go to see the GP immediately. When it comes to the health sector, perhaps just to explain things, after the war, there was a project. There was a project during my master's degree, and that is an MA in health management. But this has nothing to do with, say, a doctor's profession. So this I completed in 2008 with AER funding, but it's about budgeting, it's about managing institutions, but it has nothing to do with doctor's training. I have never had any such training sessions. I've never been involved in this regard. I have nothing to do with a doctor's profession.
That's very clear, and I thank you very much. And the same, I suppose, with the training to be a nurse or to provide some services of nurse, I suppose, but you have to explain us.
Never have I had any training to become a nurse. I have nothing to do with nurses and nursing. Never in my life have I ever served as a nurse or received any training as a nurse. I don't even know what to do in terms of being a doctor or a nurse. Even if I were to asked about it, I wouldn't know, but if I were to be asked about an economist, what they do, I can keep answering until daybreak. But in terms of doctors and doctoring, nothing to do with that.
So to be sure, because I'm not sure I focus on this, have you ever been in a place of the KLA in Albania? Have you ever been there, in Albania, in a place, a headquarter of the KLA in Albania?
No.
Defense Counsel, I think...
No.
It's on Albania, that's why. That's only why.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Zote avocat.
Counsel. No, never, ever.
I think that's very clear. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your Honor, for the next question, I think it's better to go to private session because it's a question of identification of certain person.
Very well. Madam Court Officer, can you bring us into private session, please?
Your Honors, we are now in private session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. So, Mrs. Court Officer, could we please display ERN 059113-059144 at page 15 to display on the screen. And perhaps the best is to zoom on the picture itself because there is some information around the picture.
Very well. Madam Court Officer, please proceed.
May I?
Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. So, Mrs. Witness, do you recognize this person?
Yo?
No, 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 I have never seen him before.
It's very clear, thank you very much, and that's enough for the picture. Mrs. Witness, do you know a person named Time Kadriye?
Time Kadri.
Time Kadriye is an MP in the Parliament of Kosovo. And the very first time I spoke to her was when she became an MP in our parliament. She belongs to another political party and I to another, but that's where we met and that's where we first chatted. But she wasn't an MP back in 2004. I don't know about 2010 when exactly she came, but whenever she did, I spoke to her for the very first time in parliament. I have never seen her before, never met her before.
That's very clear, thank you very much. We can go back in public session, I think so. Thank you.
Madam Court Officer, can you please bring us back into public session?
Your Honors, we are back in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Mrs. Witness, do you know or did you know a person named Peter Shala?
Personen...
The person by the name of Peter Shala, his name, rather, and his face, very first time I saw on the day he was arrested by the institution. Never before had I seen him. Never had I heard his name before. Therefore, when I received the invitation by the court, when I opened it, and I saw that I was to take part in the process as a witness in his case, for me it really both was a surprise and it was quite ridiculous because he's a person I have never seen before. Microphone, please.
Stick to answering the questions. Yeah? You are not here to elaborate on topics you deem necessary. And this is now the third time that I'm telling you. So please, I will interrupt you if you do it again. And I prefer not to interrupt you. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. So, do you know or did you know a person nicknamed Ushku? And particularly during the period of the war, 1998 or 1999, did you have some information about the so-called Yushku.
Io?
No, never, never.
So, I have to thank you to be here and to be so clear in your answer. I have no more question to you, and I have to thank you for giving me the floor. That's over.
Thank you, Defense Counsel. Very well. We still have some time till the break. Madam Prosecutor, could you continue with your cross-examination now?
Absolutely, Your Honors, yes.
Okay. Then, Madam Witness, I will now give the floor to the Specialist Prosecutor's Office, and they will continue with the cross-examination. Yes?
Non regolo, dat propicia.
Okay, and I will try to respect all the rules that you have laid out before me.
The floor is for you, Madam Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honors.
Madam Prosecutor, just to be sure, the oral order we granted at the beginning was that also with reference to the request you made on the 20th of November with regard to the disclosed items ending at 374, 376, and 377. Because I'm under the impression that they are on the list, and that you made a request to on that moment, and that we have admitted them, but they are not put on record yet.
Your Honors, if you refer to the three items, let's say in
yes,
per se, yes. So those were disclosed, and we have included them in our presentation queue. I don't. Is that what Your Honor was?
Yes. So we have now mentioned them, and there are now this email correspondence and this request, and our decision has now been put on record. Just that we have a clean record on this, and that it's not hidden somewhere in the digital world without having been set here in court.
Thank you very much.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Madam Witness. My name is Gaia Pergolo. I am one of the counsel of the Specialist Prosecutor's Office, and I will be asking you a few questions this afternoon to explore and understand better what you told us today earlier. You told us earlier that you were born in Vaux, if I understood correctly, and I wanted to ask you, first of all, to which municipality does Vaux belong?
Vaux belongs to Dechan municipality. It's somewhere 5 to 6 kilometers from Dechan.
How far is Vaux from the village of Unic?
Vox,
Vox must be about 6 to 7 kilometers away from Munich.
por un nu kam jetu.
But I've not lived in Vox. When I was very young, we moved to Dachau. When I was about 10 years old, from that age, we lived in Dachau. I didn't live in Vox.
Thank you for that clarification. And then I have another question for you. How far is then Dachau from Zermian? Do you know this village I'm talking about?
To be honest, I don't know how far away it is in terms of kilometers. Dachau and Jakova are about 18, 19 kilometers away, but I've never been to Zermian. I don't really know where it is.
And part of the same municipality, is it also part of Dachau in terms as a municipality? Do you know that?
No, Zermian is, to my knowledge, is part of the municipality of Jakov. And I've never been there.
Thank you very much. You told us earlier that you were a teacher for several years, and I'm now trying to retrieve the reference because you mentioned a specific location, a specific school where you were teaching, and perhaps if you can. This is a page 70 of the transcript from today, I believe is the very first few lines. Yeah, the Vlezid Vrashi Gymnasium. Is that correct?
Yes. In Dachau, that's where it is.
Thank you very much. So you taught there, you said between which years? Can you confirm perhaps a bit more precisely?
In 1987 to 1994.
Thank you very much. You also told us earlier that at some point and actually you said, you explained in June 1998, you moved to Albania. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And you also told us that you mentioned a few locations in Albania where you went, and you also stated that you never went to Kukës, to the town of Kukës. Is that correct?
Exact. Correct. Never.
Were you aware, though, of the presence of a KLA base or headquarters there in 1999, which is the same time in which you were in Albania?
Never have I had this sort of information.
You never had it at the time, or you never knew about this, even later after the war?
Never did I know, never did I learn about it until these judicial processes commenced. I didn't know this from anyone, not from a man, not from a woman, not from a boy or girl. Never has anyone mentioned that there was such a thing there. I have no knowledge of that.
Did you perhaps learn that through the media then, at any point in time?
Maybe an open question would here have been better.
I will rephrase my question. So you mentioned that you didn't have any knowledge from a man, a woman, children. You mentioned a few other sources of information. So my question is, was there any other source of information through which you may have ever received any information about a KLA base in Kukës?
Nuk
I don't have any knowledge of that. I don't know.
Have you ever heard about two public judgments against, one against an individual called Sabi Getzi and another against an individual called Zemshid Krasniqi concerning events in Albania?
nuk po më kujtohen.
I don't remember.
You have never heard about these judgments that I am mentioning?
Nuk po më kujtohen.
I don't remember. I haven't heard. I don't know.
Thank you, witness. I would now like to ask you about a number of individuals, if you know them. And for the first part, Your Honors, I would request to go briefly into private session, and I'll explain the reasons when we are in private session.
Very well. Madam Court Officer, can you bring us into private session, please?
And you told us earlier that you met her when she became a member of parliament herself. Is that correct?
Pa.
Yes, correct.
Do you know if she was part of the KLA during the war?
Unë gjatë luftës
I never met Timokadria during the war. Through the media, I heard that she was a member of the war effort, but I only met Timokadria on the day when she became an MP, and we were both together members of parliament in Kosovo.
So do I understand correctly that you heard through the media that Timokadria was a KLA member during the war? Is that correct?
përmes media
Through the media after the war. That's when I heard this. It wasn't during the war.
And you didn't learn this from her directly? Did she tell you anything about it?
No. I never discussed this with Tima because we belong to different political subjects, and there was nothing that connected us to discuss such issues. We are opponents politically. I was a member of parliament representing one party. She represented a different party. However, as members of parliament, we greeted each other when we went there.
Do you know in which area did Timokadria serve as a KLA member during the war?
nuk e di.
I don't know. I wasn't there myself. I don't know.
Thank you very much. Your Honors, I think we can now move back into public session.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. Madam Court Officer, can you bring us back into public session, please?
Your Honors, we are now in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Madam Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honors. Madam Witness, do you know a woman named Fitnete Ramosai? And apologies for my pronunciation. I hope that is clear enough for you what I mean.
Po.
Yes, I knew her, but she is not alive anymore. She was a very good activist. She was a student of mine when I was a teacher.
Where was she from?
Ajo ishte
She was from Tsarabrek village.
And where is Tsarabrek village?
Tsarabrek village is about 1 to 2 kilometers from Dechan, where I live. These are villages that are connected to each other.
Do you know if she was a member of the KLA during the war?
I knew Fitnet only as a student when she was in the gymnasium and I was a teacher there. I used to teach her. After she finished the gymnasium, after she graduated, I did not have any information about her.
Did you ever meet her after your encounters at the school?
Nuk më kujtohet.
I don't remember ever meeting her after. I don't know, maybe in some rally where she held a speech, perhaps I was there, maybe I met her by chance, but I don't remember.
So you mentioned a rally or where she gave a speech, from what I understand. Can you perhaps help us locate this event in time and place? Where was this rally to start with?
Well, I can't remember exactly because it's been a long time. But I remember immediately after the war she held a speech. She read a speech about the martyrs of the nation. I just saw her from afar. I did not have a chance to talk to her.
Perhaps there's a technical issue, but I don't see the transcript working from line 17.
It's the same here, and the defense, it's also not running. Let us see. Yes, very well. It's working again. At least at this side. Madam Prosecutor, do you see the transcript?
Yeah, I think it's
Yes.
updating now, yeah.
Okay. That goes for everybody very well. Let's see, Victims Counsel nodding, and also defense team. Very well. Good. Madam Prosecutor, please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, witness. So you mentioned a speech immediately after the war. Do you remember where was that rally and that speech that she made?
I don't remember.
And in addition to meeting her in the context of this rally, did you ever meet her during the war?
No. Where would I meet her? I was in Albania.
So you mentioned that she gave a speech. I think this was in answer to my question whether she was involved with the KLA, and also you mentioned a speech about the martyrs of the nation. So do you know, or rather, let's start in this way. So do you have any knowledge, perhaps, either from her directly or from other sources, of whether she was indeed involved with the KLA during the war?
I have no knowledge of that because myself, I was not a member of the KLA, so I don't know who was and who wasn't.
Madam Prosecutor, I see Defense Counsel standing. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have an objection to place. We believe we've been now witnessing a fishing expedition that lasted more than 15 or 20 minutes. We don't see the relevance of all this. We don't see this as an exercise of testing credibility. We understand what is probably an attempt to try to give more credibility to some other witnesses, but this is not the purpose. This has gone way too far about remote things and hearsay of hearsay. This is not the topic that we addressed, and we don't believe this is something that goes to the credibility of this witness. If they have something to confront her with, we're happy to listen to that and re-examine if necessary. But we don't even know where we're going with this. And this lasted for too long for Your Honors to allow it. Thank you.
It's only too long if I say that it's too long, but well noted your objection, Defense Counsel. Madam Prosecutor, I have allowed for it, but there is also a moment that at this side of the table we think that the moment comes to conclude this. So I don't agree with the defense. So on the other hand, yes, I think you might wrap it up or make clear why it's necessary to continue.
Yes, Your Honors. I was anyway about to conclude on this specific topic. Yes, the questions are aiming at testing the credibility of the witness, and of course also to get a better picture of course, other evidence that we have on record. But I'm happy to move on from here. Actually, this was concluding my question with regard to this individual.
Thank you.
Madam Witness, I have just a few last questions about another individual. Do you know a person called Muhammad Tafili?
Io.
No.
Madam Prosecutor, it's almost 3:30, so if you could try to put an end to your questioning now with one question or not, leave it to you. And then we have a break of 10 minutes, and then we will continue for another half an hour.
Will do. Yes, thank you. Have you ever heard about this family name, perhaps?
Io.
No.
Thank you, witness. I think we can break here from our side. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. Madam Witness, we will have a 10 minutes break, and then we will continue for another half an hour, till 4:10. Yes? I will ask Madam Kortesje to accompany you.
Regoli.
Understood. Thank you.
The hearing is adjourned for 10 minutes.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back. And we will proceed. Madam Court Usher, can you bring the witness in, please? How long do you have left, Madam Prosecutor?
I think I'll be able to complete in the next half an hour, if not earlier. Most likely earlier than the next half an hour.
Okay. Thank you. Madam, welcome back, Madam Witness. I will give the floor to the prosecution to continue with its cross-examination.
Thank you.
Madam Prosecutor, what I've seen is that you now, up till now, you have used the same amount of time that the defense has used. As long as we see the relevancy of your question, you will be allowed to continue. But just for you to know that normally you should refer to the panel if you see that you are going over the time used by the defense.
Thank you, Your Honors. Yes, absolutely. I will proceed accordingly. Madam Witness, I would like to ask you a few questions about your political affiliations. Have you ever been a member or an activist in any party in Kosovo?
Since 1999, I am a member of the Democratic Party of Kosovo.
Have you had any formal role within that party?
Well,
yes.
Which one?
In 1999, we took the initiative to establish the Democratic Party of Kosovo, and I was engaged in creating the branch of the Democratic Party in Dechan, and at the time we had the elections, and I was head of that chapter, and then in the elections that were held for the steering committee of the party, I became a member of the steering committee in the year 2000.
Thank you very much. Who was the president or chairman at that time of the party?
In the assembly of the year 2000 that we held, after the assemblies were held in all the municipalities of Kosovo, the delegates to the assembly that attended the assembly voted and elected the honorable and very respected Hashim Thaci was elected president. There were other people who ran for the same position, and Hashim Thaci won the vote.
Madam Witness. I would like to show you now a few Facebook posts from your Facebook account and ask you to comment on them. And Your Honors, if with your leave, I would request that the first year-end number be pulled up on the screen.
You may proceed.
Thank you. It's SPOE 00342376. To 00342376. And if the English translation could also be shown, it's the same ERN number ending in ET.
A mundi më rrit edhe pak?
Can you zoom in a bit, please?
Can you see it now, Madam Witness?
Can you see it, Madam Witness?
Po, po.
Yes, yes.
And from what I see, this is actually something you reposted from the Facebook profile of Bardil Mahmouti. Is this correct?
Po duket se është.
It looks like that's the case.
I would now like to read briefly the content of this post, and then I'll ask you a few questions on this. And again, I'm reading now from the translation, which is on the left-hand side of the screen. This is a post from 24th of January 2021, and it says, in spite of the undeniable fact that none of the Kosovo Liberation Army fighters have in any case avoided facing justice, although the charges were completely stitched up and politically motivated, the pretrial judge Nicolas Guillot turned down the request by lawyer Ben Emerson to release Kadri Veseli from custody and allow him to defend himself in freedom. Such a decision is based on allegation influenced by Belgrade political circles and has nothing in common with justice. On the contrary, this decision testifies to the political character of the so-called special chambers and special prosecutor's office. Shame on you. Madam Witness, are you indeed of the view that the charges brought against certain KLA members, including Kadri Veseli, are politically motivated?
Janë të motivuara.
Yes, they are politically motivated. Serbia is continuing its special war against Kosovo, and the things that were stitched up by the Serbian police are continuing here. The question you asked me about Finete Ramosaj was asked of me by the Serbian police back in time. And it's a shame to ask the same question about a woman that now is not alive. The same identical question that was asked by you was asked of me by the Serbian police for the 3 days that I was kept by them and tortured in the police station building in Peja. This is not my opinion. It is Bardil Mahmouti's opinion that I shared, but I think that's true. These are all concocted by the Serbian police, bringing here false testimonies by witnesses. I am here today. I'm not
being translated anymore. No. I will not repeat it, but I warn that in this court, no, Mr. Shala, not now. That in this court, it's not necessary to raise your voice. And if I ask you to stop talking, please stop talking. Yeah? Because you answered the question, and it was not necessary to elaborate any further. And you are here to tell the truth, and you are obliged to answer, and there's no need to get irritated. It was a completely legitimate question to ask you, and you should just answer it.
Can I just say one more thing?
Back to Madam Prosecutor, and she will ask you a follow-up question or a new question.
Madam Witness, my next question is, so are you of the view that decisions made by this court are based on assumptions influenced by Belgrade's political circles and have nothing to do with justice?
Zonja Prokurore.
Madam Prosecutor, every day on TV, we are able to see that Belgrade, the secret service, the Serbian secret service, has provided all sorts of stitched up things to discredit the KLA. This is not my position, it is theirs, because we can see this every day on a daily basis on TV. Although I wasn't able to follow myself because I wasn't much interested in the proceedings here, I didn't see that the prosecution has distanced themselves from this and to say that this isn't the case. The question that you asked me about Fitnet coincides with the same question that I was asked in Bay.
You made that point, and it's not necessary to repeat it. It has been noted.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Witness. I would like to ask to now show another Facebook post, so this can be taken down, and if we can proceed with another, I'll give the year and number.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer.
The year-end is SPOE 0034 2374 to 0034 2375, and this is the first page, and the corresponding translation is has the same year-end ending in ET.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer. Yes.
Madam Witness, can you see in the screen what is shown there?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is, if you remember posting this?
Yes, you think I wrote this? What's written here? Because this is a share of a post by Edirama.
I understand that. That's...
Could you please clarify the question?
That this is something that you posted on your Facebook profile.
Yes, I have posted it, and I reiterate again that these notes made here and the people noted here, and this is not the place to do this because I'm not in the court for this, but they are the value of our own nation. They are the values of our life and freedom of our nation. I reiterate.
Speak further on, and I have override you, so you will not be translated. Please answer the questions. You are here as a witness, and you are under obligation to give an answer to the questions that are posed to you. Madam Prosecutor, please proceed.
Thank you. Indeed, Madam Witness, in this post you mentioned a number of individuals, and we all have these in front of us. All of these people are accused before this tribunal, including Peter Shala, who is the accused in this case. And you mentioned that these individuals are the value of our nation, of our life in freedom. I wanted to ask you, in this regard, what did you mean by this expression, by this sentence.
What question is this? These people liberated Kosovo. These people fought fairly in our liberation war. These people actually protected us from the genocide run by Serbian state. How can we not appreciate these people? They are the value of our lives, of our nation. They are our liberators. That is why, not just here, but 100 times over, I will keep saying this. Because they are of value to us all, and these people are in this court, which unfortunately has become ridiculous. They have come here with stitched-up allegations which the Serbian Secret Service has put down with their...
I have overridden you, so you are not being translated. And we don't allow you to call this court ridiculous. It's not necessary to use those type of terms. No, but no, I'm not. You are not having the floor. No. No, you will not get the floor, and I'm overriding you, so you are not. You will not be translated. Madam Prosecutor, you may put your next question, if this has been sufficiently answered.
Thank you, Your Honors. Madam Witness, at the time you made this Facebook or reposted this post, were you familiar with the charges brought by this tribunal against Peter Shala?
I have never read the indictment against Peter Shala because I wasn't interested in an indictment which is based on stitched-up allegations of false witnesses. Tell me, Madam Prosecutors, why am I sitting here today? Where I'm sitting here, you could be sitting. Did you know Peter Shala in 1999? Did you know his name, Peter Shala's name? Were you a doctor? Of course not.
You are not being translated anymore, and I know you can understand me. I know that you heard what I said to you. You are not the one asking the questions here. Please answer the questions that are posed to you. Madam Prosecutor, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Judge. Witness, I have one last question for you, and then I will ask that the last exhibit be pulled up. But first of all, I would like to ask you also whether you are familiar with the charges that were brought against Salih Mustafa.
I don't even want to read the indictments. The charges from the Serbian Secret Service, the stop allegations, don't even want to read them.
May I have then the last exhibit, which is SPOE 0034-2377 to 0034-2379, page 1, and the corresponding English translation, the same.
Please proceed, Madam Court Officer. And Madam Witness, when the question is posed to you, please stay calm in your answer.
Madam Witness, do you recognize this post?
Yes.
I'll read briefly what it says in the translation. We are all Kali, false, wretched, fabricated testimonies. Let them weigh heavy on the conscience of everybody who has given them and who has fallen in the trap of the genocidal Serbian regime. False testimonies are also punishable. I believe that the domestic and international justice which have fallen down would one day sober up. Now, Madam Witness, I have a question for you. You told us that you have not read the indictment against Ali Mustafa. Then how can you state that the charges or the evidence, the witnesses in that case, are false and fabricated?
Every statement that has been given against the KLA members, when in fact they actually liberated us and fought fairly, is fabricated. Perhaps today I would have written it even more strongly, since I'm sitting here on false testimony, and I just understood this today because I didn't know until I got here today why I had been called to The Hague. I just didn't know why. I didn't know how you even came up with my name to summon me here. So you have found it, and you based it on false testimony. And if I actually could, I would improve what I've put in there. Because, of course, there were cases, like for me here today as a witness, that are based on false testimony, based on staged allegations of the Serbian secret services. And what can you say to that? Of course, for this there must have been a case like mine, although I don't know. That is why I say that it is a shame.
Just for you to know that you are here on request of the defense. Just to remind you of that. Madam Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Your Honor, if you allow me one moment, please, to confirm with my colleague.
We are going to wrap up.
Your Honor, this concludes our cross-examination. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Witness.
Thank you. Victims' Counsel, I'm going to do the planning for tomorrow. Do you have any questions for this witness?
Very few. Okay. Probably 5 minutes. I'm very happy to do it now if it's possible. But
yes, but let us see. I think that the time for today is what it is.
yes, I understand.
Mr. Shala, I will give you the floor after I have finalized this part. Defense Counsel, is there? Can you already oversee if you would like to have a second round?
No, thank you very much. But before giving the floor to Mr. Shala, I prefer to have a contact with him.
Very well, but then I can tell Mr. Shala that he can be given the floor tomorrow, because I don't see how we could, within the limited time that we have at our disposal at this moment in time,
it could be
create
very
that. So I will tell Mr. Shala that you will talk with him later this afternoon, and then he can choose to be given. You can choose to ask for the floor tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Shala, you will. Your lawyer has asked me to convey to you that he will discuss with you this afternoon. And then if there's anything you would like to share with the panel, you can do that tomorrow when we continue with the examination of the witness. Okay. I won't give you the floor on request of your lawyer. No, Mr. Shala. Madam Witness, thank you for your testimony you have been giving to us today. I wish you a restful evening. Madam Kurt Usher will usher you out, and we see each other back at 9:30 tomorrow. I foresee that it will not be a long session, and please don't discuss your testimony with anybody. Thank you again. You can leave together with Madame Kurt Usher. No, not now. No, Madam Witness, for now it's over. Thank you, Madam Kurt Usher. Before we adjourn, is there anything that parties and Victims' Council would like to raise with the panel?
No, Your Honors, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Nothing.
Good. The hearing is adjourned till tomorrow, 9:30.
All rise.